Hello, my name's Drew Nonstar, and we're playing Kerbal Space Program. I decided I wanted to start recording some video and doing some stuff. Been a long time watcher of these videos, so I decided to make my own little Let's Play and see how people like it. So I guess the first order of business is a space station. So I decided to make a space station that will easily accept my planned SSTO, which you'll see later in the video. Want to do an SSTO first because it's one of the harder things to do in the game. So I figured why not start with the hard stuff and have some fun later on with some of the easier stuff, but just kind of started off, set the bar high. So here I am with some plates, whatever they're called, making a space station. The mods I'm going to be using in this Let's Play so far are, mechjeb, because sometimes it's easier just to let it fly while I walk away, to be honest. And also the weld mod. I'll put a link in the description. The reason I'm doing that is because I like building things big, and I don't have the greatest computer in the world. I really like to have high frames per second when I'm playing. So yeah, I like the mod because you can turn a bunch of little parts into one part. So what I'm doing is making a base part, basically. Base as in the base, the root, its own part basically. And certain things I can't include in it because they won't work if I turn it into a single part. Docking ports being one. Command modules get a little wonky as well. So does anything with animation or lights. So kind of put it together and then took off the things that would cause issues and welded it, as you saw there. I also had the video playing very fast because kind of recorded a lot of stuff, and the video would have been well over an hour. So, and I wanted to make it a good first episode, so I did a couple launches. A couple as in two. So here I am putting the docking ports back on. Decided after I put the other ones, the standard ones on, that I wanted to have the ones that open up the shielded docking ports because it looks cooler. I added some two-man command pods on the top, and here I am adding lights to the station so we could see it at night. Now, you probably noticed that when I welded the part, I left the hitchhiker storage containers. The reason being is I don't really care about the IVA view, or at least I don't now. Maybe in the future I'll add something so I can have a hitchhiker IVA. But I figured since I don't care about the IVA view, just to weld it together and turn 5 parts into one essentially with the rest of the station. The only problem with that is that the welding mod will put the crew hatch at the center of mass. So fortunately for me, in the center of the mass, is a hitchhiker storage container. So that one will function as normal. The difference being that I could put 5 times the normal amount in that container, or vice versa. I can enter from any one of the exterior modules, hitchhiker storage containers. But if I exit, it will exit from the middle one, which I'm fine with. I know it's maybe it's a little cheaty, but the whole point is I want to be able to build something very big, and in order to do something like that and still have the game be playable and recordable, I kind of got to keep my part count low. So here I am building a launcher. It's just a standard, orange tank plus, asparagus stage launcher. Just trying to get it lined up on the bottom best I can, which I end up not doing, but ends up not being a big deal. I also somehow broke the game in doing this at the very end of this part and ended up putting a bunch of parts inside of each other. That's probably because I had part clipping on to do one of the parts of the upper station, the base part. I wanted the modular girder segment. I can't even talk right now. The girder segments, I wanted them to look a certain way, and I don't really feel like that's cheating. If maybe if you're doing stuff to make a rocket or a space plane and you're clipping inside of them, to make it do something it wasn't intended. But when it comes to aesthetic stuff, I don't mind doing it if it makes it look better, which I think it does. It didn't look right with it sitting on the outside of the big panels, 4x4 panels. So having it kind of inside like it's built as a part of it looked alright. So here I am getting the staging ready, separating out the decouplers and everything, adding a power supply for the lights on the main station. The main station's looking like it's only got about, I think, 18 or 20 parts. Oh, there's another mod I forgot to mention. The only other mod I'm using 3 mods. This is the escape pods. Again, for the life of me, can't think of the name of it, but I will post a link in the description. This is what I was talking about earlier. You can see it kind of shaking around there. There's like 3 orange tanks in there and like 2 of the half tanks. It was a pain. I actually ended up having to rebuild the whole thing, so I didn't record that, or this video would have been even longer. So I'm using mechjeb on this launch because at the time of recording I had to go and do some other things that were more important, unfortunately, that I couldn't, give the excuse I need to play my game and record it to the person I had to go do this for. So I ended up using mechjeb on this one, which wasn't a big deal because I was fairly confident it wouldn't have any issues, and it didn't, so that was good. I won't always use mechjeb. I don't use it to do things that I can't do without it, but for something like this, especially when I had to walk away and let this do its ascent on its own, I figured no harm, no foul. It could do it all right, and I'd already calculated and figured out everything. I knew I wasn't going to be leaving any tanks in orbit. I knew that the this last orange tank on here was going to decouple and still be on a ballistic trajectory towards Kerbal. And the last piece on the bottom of the station I intended to keep there until I added a fuel module, which is going to be devoted completely to tons of fuel, because this is going to be my refueling station in orbit. So here I am, almost lateral. I'm already back at the computer, as you can see, because I'm changing angles and closing up mechjeb and all that. So I let it finish circularizing my orbit at 600 kilometers. Figured that was a good distance to get a full frame view of the planet, and not have it spin too fast or too slow. I thought about the idea of putting it in geosynchronous orbit or geostationary, whatever it's actually called. Decided not to, that it might get boring seeing the same spot on the planet all the time, so I moved it out to about 600 kilometers. So here I am getting ready for the circularization burn. Pretty standard stuff. The station is surprisingly mobile and or agile. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's very easy for me to move it around and orient it how I'd like. So that's a definite plus. There's no wobbling or shaky parts. A couple weeks ago I actually launched something like this and started to build a station in orbit, not recording it just because I play this game all the time. But I didn't use the welding plugin. I got about 3 modules together with little kind of like gantries or walkways between them. There's 3, almost 4, before my frames per second were just grinded to a halt, which forced me to figure out what I was going to do, because I have a vision and I'd like to build it. So anyways, without any further ado, here I am starting to build the SSTO I mentioned earlier. Now this SSTO is not just going to be a single person jet. I do want to be able to ferry astronauts to and from the station, so I'm going to add these one-man lander cans and a couple of these nifty escape pods. I really like the escape pods. I like the way they look. The IVA is just like the, I believe it's the Mark I cockpit. It looks exactly the same. But it also has the added feature of a built-in decoupler, which is pretty nice because you don't have to add a decoupler that is an extra part. So that's nice, and I like that. So at some point here, I'm going to stop the video and just come back after I've built the space plane. But here's just the beginning. I'd forgotten to put that on before I angled it. So, and then I decided I was going to go with this one. So I spent probably about an hour building this, maybe a little bit longer, and then did all the test flying without recording because I'm not that great at making these, and the video would have been really long. So I once I got one that I could take off, land, and also, you know, figured I can get in orbit with it, started recording again. So here I am setting the action groups for the abort sequence. I do have a abort action group because they're fun, and it's always fun when, you know, you're coming in for a landing and the thing starts flipping out and you try to recover all the way to the last second, but eventually you realize, nope, not going to do it. So it's good to have it and save all the Kerbals, because I do like the idea of permadeath. So, the escape module also comes with some neat lights. It has a red strobe, like a emergency strobe or warning strobe. So I threw one on there, put it on its own action group because it does light up with the other lights. So yeah, so here's the takeoff. Standard blah blah blah. Actually on this flight I was just testing the escape system. I wanted to make sure everybody would survive. So I started my ascent. I don't remember if I decided I was going to do it after I took off or before I took off, but yeah, at this point I'm already trying to make it flip out, and I didn't. So one of the things I noticed is when I do eject everybody, the whole thing likes to just blow up. Parts of the plane fly off, see wings and for air intakes, but here's the escape pod. It's got its own built-in jets with I think 15 liters, I think, of fuel. Here I am cycling through, trying to figure out if all these will survive an unassisted landing on parachutes. So these are the two that I was worried about the most. The other ones are pretty beefy. As a matter of fact, they're probably a little too beefy. The developers could probably tweak that a little bit. Feel like you can bang them up pretty hard. But then again, they are escape pods, and they are supposed to be an emergency situation, so I guess they would build them a little beefier. But this is the moment of truth, and they don't break. They don't blow up. It's good. It's already good. So I'm cycling through, making sure all 5 pilots or astronauts were okay, and here we go. Here's the real deal. We're going to put this guy in orbit, hopefully. Testing the lights, or turning on the lights and then turning off the strobe, as I was talking about. Thank God for that action group. And again, I will use mechjeb on this one because it just was not a good day for me to fly. Every single time I got to this part, it was, you know, I have to basically dedicate, 15 minutes of my time unerringly. Can't do anything else, and I can't mess up or I got to start again. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it, and mechjeb could do it for me. So I took off, got over 1,000 meters, and let it take over. Walked away and came back in a couple minutes and was tweaking the turn angle. It wasn't my best flight to orbit. Again, I was using mechjeb and kind of walking away and walking back. So, but normally I do a little bit better than this, which hopefully I'll show you again if you guys like my video and I keep making them. So yeah, I definitely was too steep on the way up to the point where my relative velocity was just going up too fast, and even when I finally did level it out, I was still heading up, and my intake got really low. One of the things I really do like about mechjeb is the prevent jet flameout feature. I love that thing because I can do it by myself, but it's annoying. You know, you throttle up just a little bit, engine dies out, you throttle down just a little bit, and even with fine controls, you don't feel like you can find the most efficient, spot. But when you're watching mechjeb doing it, it's moving just a little tiny bit at a time, so it's at the max you can be. It's most efficient basically. And if I was worrying about fuel, mechjeb's definitely the way to go. So here I am, still getting thrust. It's hard to see on this little tiny screen. I got about 0.07 or, oh yeah, at this point I'm already going back down, so my air intake's actually going back up. This is where I was inefficient. That first angle was a little too steep. But no worries, I'll come down a little bit, be able to throttle back up to full throttle, and start getting my apoapsis out in front of me again, with the benefit of going nearly orbital velocities. It's hard to see, but I was about 2,000 meters per second, 2 kilometers per second. It's dropping down because I am meeting air resistance now, but didn't go down too much. Last time when I was at 27 kilometers, I definitely wasn't going this fast, so I'm already doing better. Right about now, it's coming back up. I'm gonna keep it level. My app-waps will be further and further ahead of me, and the number I'm looking for is 50 kilometers. I want to be at least 50 kilometers up before I light that aero spike. That fuel goes very fast, so I really want to do it at the most efficient time, and that's with as much speed and highest altitude I can get out of these jet engines, and they flame out just past 50,000. I can squeeze less than a kilonewton, fractions of a kilonewton out of each one over 50, but by 52 it's pretty much Dunsky. So there's my app-waps, nearly 60 kilometers. My current altitude's probably somewhere around 30, 35, I don't know. There we go, 44. The other thing is, this is my first real recording. I've tried it in the past, but I ended up giving up before I even published anything. So I thought my audio was recording this entire time. It's a good thing it wasn't, because I did end up speeding up the video because I recorded a lot. It was probably about 4 hours of playing, maybe 3.5 hours of playing. But I didn't record any audio, game audio nor commentary. So this is all post-commentary right now. Hopefully I sound okay. If you guys like my videos and I end up making more, maybe I'll think about investing in a better mic or something. Right now I'm just using the built-in microphone. So hope I don't sound too bad. Here we go. I got my app-waps at 100 kilometers. Gonna do my burn and circularize it, because I wasn't really planning on going straight to the station. I probably could have, been a little more efficient with my fuel if I timed the launch and everything. But this plane's still relatively untested. I really don't know, when I should be taking off. So just do a standard maneuver node and figure out when I should be burning, doing a Hohmann's transfer over to the station. So since it's a circular orbit, and I'm currently in a circular orbit as well, just make a maneuver node that takes me out to the higher orbit, and then move it around and figure out when's the best time to burn, so I get there at the same time. And I did that. Unfortunately, I started burning a little too late once I got there. We're not there yet, but we will be. Again, post-commentary. Don't really know what's coming up next, because I've only watched this once, and that's when I was playing it. So here we go, we're coming up on it, and I figure, alright, let's start adjusting my burn here, adjusting my orbit so I come closer to it. I do that, and figure, yeah, I'm not going to burn yet. I'm not going to burn yet. Probably should be burning, and there I go. Nope, still not burning. I just adjusted it, and right past the station. Right past the station, which is pretty embarrassing for my first video. But it wasn't so bad. All is not lost. Less than a kilometer away from it, so just a little tiny burn the other direction and some time acceleration, and we're practically there. Switch over to the RCS thrusters and start preparing to dock with the station. There goes my lights, and this time I'm going to let it ride, because I am docking with the station after all. Could be quite dangerous. The station is currently uninhabited as well. Could have launched it with some people in there, some Kerbals. I don't know if they're really people. I guess they're people, non-human people. But I did not. So this SSTO flight is bringing up the current, I guess, technicians and maintainers of the station. You probably noticed earlier I did not put any of the famous guys, Jeb, Bob, or Bill, because quite frankly, I didn't want to kill them. And this is my first attempt, and you never know. All kinds of things happen. For all I know, I'll get out of this ship, and something will happen, something will clip, and the whole thing will blow up. That would be the case, right? Because that never happens in Kerbal's space program. Never. Never, I say. So here I am docking. One of my better docks, I must say. Wasn't perfect. I did shift past where I needed to go. But if they ever put docking cams into this game, that problem would be eradicated. In the meantime, I'll just have to shift around views and hope I don't have a girder or something blocking my view. Just going to come in here. And once the magnets start pulling me, turn off my SAS. Oh, I already turned it off. And turn off my RCS. And there we go. Instant dock. And what is going on here? Whoa now. It's not going back. Alright, time accelerate. Alright. No, something's still going on. Let's do it again. No, it's still doing it. What is going on here? Oh well, before anything blows up, let's get these astronauts out of here. Let's get them into the station. Oh, he bumped it. Now it's going crazy again. Oh, golly. Oh, no. Do a little time acceleration. See if we can stop it from blowing up. Because I've already invested a lot of time in the station. So, here we go. Let's get them in the station. Let's put them... this is horrible. This is painful to watch. Oh yeah, we're going to check the docks. Let's see. That says undock. And what about... I guess I already saw the other side. So I just checked to make sure both docking ports were in fact docked and it wasn't just one. So we're going to put them in here. We're going to put them in a cam that has a view. And here we are. Here's the view. It's brief, but we're on time constraints here. Here I am trying to move the station. Okay, here we go. All right, let's move. All right, and it's not budging. For some reason, the station is locked at this heading. It does not want to move at all. And at the risk of destroying everything I decide, I'll wait till I undock, because it's probably an issue with these two vessels docked to each other. So, at this point, I figure, what do I got to do to undock this, right? First of all, I need some fuel. I probably have enough to deorbit, but not enough to fire those jet engines up again. So, get the fuel over and eject a Kerbal. And he just flies out of there. It's quite comical if you get a good view, but it's very hard to get that good view. So let's go ahead and get everyone but the pilot off this boat. And get them onto this new boat so we can bring the plane back and hopefully have our first successful SSTO mission to the space station. So you got him, and oh, there he goes, flying out. But fortunately, he was ejected right into the station, which is good. And who do we got left? I counted 4 already, right? So fuel's over. Got to make sure. There we go, undocked. Before I get the other one, let me just make sure I already undocked, but I got to make sure. There we go. So, unfortunately, oh, look at that. So I took the pilot out of the main pod and left the guy in the right seat. So figured I'll switch him over and let him fly it back. Wrong. The thing just flies apart as soon as I come out. I'm thinking maybe he hit the girder or something and bounced right back into it. So here it is, spinning uncontrollably, and here's me flying around for a minute or two, trying to get into it. Had one missed opportunity right there. And, yep, almost there, come on. Don't want to leave anything in orbit that's not supposed to be here. And here you go, I'm in. Slow it down. These things also have tons of torque. Too much torque. You cannot steer this thing for the life of you. Now, we have a problem. I don't think I can fly this space plane back with one of those pods missing. I think the CG is just going to be way messed up. So what am I going to do? I'm going to eject the other pod. But if I do that, I got to put these pods somewhere. So it looks like of the 5 I brought up, 3 of these Kerbals are going back to terra firma, or whatever you would call it for the planet Kerbin. So I get him in the pilot seat before I eject the other one, just in case anything else went wrong. Of course, nothing goes wrong. It ejects, decouples perfectly. So I got 3 things I got to put back on the planet. And I got to check fuel and all that. Fortunately, I had fuel in these things. But as you can see, it's just steering this thing is next to impossible. You can almost stop it where you want it, but rarely ever. I'm going to be burning all around the place here. I really try not to cheat. And when I say cheat, I mean, use time acceleration to stop me with whatever my heading is. Kind of like what I'm doing right here. I'm spinning, get myself close to the retrograde marker, and then as soon as I'm over top of it, what do? Time accelerate. Boom. Close enough. I really don't like doing that, but with this escape pod, I'm going to have to put mechjeb on them and tell it to point at retrograde, because there's no way I can control this thing. Just, it's not fun to do. So, either I stop using the pod, or I figure out other ways to work around it. So, I vow to try not to do the time acceleration stop thing whenever possible, but sometimes it is just necessary. So, we get to test out, unplanned test of the escape pods, and here I am with IVA view. Just checking that out. So we're going to test the tolerances. Will this thing from orbit do it? Well, from the 600 kilometer orbit, it was able to deorbit itself with its onboard fuel and rockets. Barely even touched the RCS. I didn't need it with all that torque. Good thing I didn't run out of electric charge. Here I am trying to make it so I land in the water and not the land, because I wanted to make sure, for some reason water's harder in this game than land, so I wanted to make sure it wouldn't blow up in the land either. And then I remembered I have two of these things, so I get to do it twice. So I figured, I'll have some fun and slow myself down with some jets and figure out how much fuel I really have, whether I could actually land this thing without a parachute or not. The short answer is no, not with the way the torque is. Maybe if I had mechjeb could do a powered landing, but it is not on this pod, so it will not be able to do it this time. But I am fairly confident I don't need parachutes with these things, so long as I do have mechjeb and fuel. But an ounce of prevention, right? Might as well stick a parachute on there. They're really neat parachutes too, the way they have the little fins that stick out and cause drag on the top, orient it in the right direction for deployment of the parachute. So, see all the ships, which one am I going to do? Figure, let's do the SSTO first. Let's fly the space plane back, and hopefully land it back at a Kerbal spaceport at the Space Center. So, I do a horribly timed burn, and we'll see. Here I'm time accelerating to get to the light side. Once it's daybreak over there, go all the way around, and it looks like a good spot here. Little did I know, a horrible spot. And I start to burn the aero spike. Got my landing guidance out for the sheer fact that it gives me landing predictions, which is, that's cheating, but whatever. You can't be good at everything in this game. So I figure, alright, I'll let it, tell me where I'm going to land. Well, it tells me exactly where I'm going to land. Unfortunately, I ran out of oxidizer. So quickly shut it off to conserve whatever liquid fuel I have left for the jets. And I was just happy that I didn't have to fly for 10 minutes over the water to get to the nearest landmass, coming down right over this little peninsula here. So here I am coming in, and starting to realize how hard this plane is to fly without those two pods up front. Go figure, right? So the center of mass is totally further back on this craft than was intended. The escape pods were only supposed to be jettisoned in the case of this thing having an emergency and saving everyone's lives. They were not intended to jettison, two of the pods and leave the other two pods and command module and fly that way. So I'm gathering that my center of lift is probably just slightly forward of the center of mass by the way it's performing. Definitely stable going backwards. As a matter of fact, I'm getting slowing myself down and keeping the engines pointed relatively towards the ground. I'm just trying to get control here, and here we go. I'm pointed prograde, but oh no, wait, I'm going up. It's the wrong direction. I need to go down. I don't want to go back to space, and oh, I'm just losing it. All right, come on down, come on down. We need to land on the ground. We're not going back to space. So here we go. Cool, now we're going in the right direction, but we're heading towards water, so we gotta turn. I was hoping not to have to do any of this stuff, but I got pretty good control, so let's go ahead and do an IVA view. Oh, there we go. That was a bad idea. The view might have been stellar, but it was a bad idea. It got away from me, and here I am. Gotta recover again. I really don't want the maiden voyage of this SSTO to be a failed landing after coming back from the station. I really wanted to put this thing on the ground with using its wheels and not its parachutes. So we're just gonna try. Still got about, we're going up again, it looks like. We're at, 3 kilometers almost, and rising. And it looks like I'm almost stable. Just gotta point it towards, nope, there we go, we're backwards again. And point it up. Well, the good news is I keep losing control, but I keep getting my altitude to go up. I have a positive rate of climb every time, which is good. If you're out of control of the aircraft, it's good to be going up and not down, right? So here we go. Gain control again. And this time, tiny movements. That looks like a beach. It looks like it might be pretty level. So the gear's coming down, and that's it. We're landing or bust. Hopefully not bust. Should have that mouse button closer to the abort button. And oh, it's going up. Okay. Alright. Oh boy. This could be hairy. Can't really see the name on this tiny screen. Hadsby. Hadsby Kerman. He ought to be Kerman. He ought to be a good pilot. So, looking pretty stable, coming down. Give it a little bit of power, just in case I got to come back up, and I got to put it. Whoa, whoop, whoop! Don't lose it! Don't lose it! Oh, okay, we're coming back up. Let's go back down. Oh dear. Oh man. All right, just kill the power. All right, that's it. The power's done. We're just, come on. We can do this. We're slipping. Nope. All right, we're going up again. It's got to bleed off some of the speed. Just find the perfect little glide slope here, and this looks good. Doesn't look too hilly up in front of us. We might actually do this. Are we gonna do this? Well, I know the answer. Post commentary and all. Let's kill those lights because it's daytime. We don't need them. And we're on the ground. And there's a funky shadow following us. I think the Millennium Falcon's flying overhead. Oh boy, that thing's big. There's a cloaked alien ship. Probably humans. And it's got out of the plane and instantly regret not putting on the parking brake. Considering I didn't put a ladder on this thing, which I will be putting in the Mark II version, I don't even bother trying to chase it. So here we go. Emergency landing success. It's hard to read. You can read it better than I can. This is the site of the first SSTO emergency landing. Everything was great, except that our brave pilot forgot to set the parking brake. Yep. Even the... Oh, well. Let's go ahead and fix the typos there. Yep. Even some of the best pilots make mistakes, although they'll never admit it. And I know. I work with them. So, getting close to the end of this video. What do we got left? Okay, we still have the SSTO escape pod in orbit. So this time I don't even bother trying to do it legitly. I point it retrograde and then time accelerate and then realize that's not the right time to be pointed retrograde. I should have been pointed prograde, so I was going halfway around the planet. So here you go. I say, what the heck, let's just do it now. And hopefully we'll be somewhere near Kerman. This time no landing predictions because there is no mechjeb. So here I come down, and to me, looks good. Unfortunately, again, I know where I landed was not good. But at least it was on the same continent. And this time not in the water. Or was it in the water? Actually, I think it was in the water. But here we go, coming up on the western seaboard of whichever continent. We got a nice little moonrise coming out there. Something to set our sights for the future. When we got this one main piece space station up there with little parts added to it. Just 2, 4, 6, 8 docking ports, and then 4 command modules and 4 lights. Docking port on the bottom, and then the piece itself. Yeah, so it puts you know, I wasn't even counting when I was counting that out, so not that many parts, under 20 at least. So because it's so little part-wise, I can hopefully put a lot of them together and make a kind of like a floating city up there, or maybe even land one or two on a moon. Maybe Minimus because it's got a lot of flat land, or scout out a good spot on the moon. That would be tough to find a big enough flat spot on the moon. Oh, you know what would be cool if I found a small enough crater that I could balance it over the crater, so you can go underneath the base and have terrain. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but subfloors, a basement for the space station inside the crater, you know, for science. So I'm recovering all the vessels and switching back over to the space station. That's right, it's not oriented to the north. I like to point everything north for two reasons. One, as it rotates around the planet, it's always off to the side laterally, I guess. You know, every one of these four pods someone will have a good view, unless it's between the two pods briefly. So that's good. And the other thing is, when I'm coming into dock with these double docking ports, all I got to do is point whatever vessel it is to the north or south, and they will be lined up. So that's my video. Video stopped and the audio is still going, but that was my video. Hope you liked it. If you do, please subscribe and like to let me know you guys are actually interested in watching my videos. Then maybe I'll make some more. Gonna make one more at least anyways, because it's gonna take a while to figure out whether people like this stuff or not, or at least like my videos or not. So I'll make another one, and hopefully this one will be getting positive attention in the meantime, and I'll know whether I'll be making a third or not. So this is Drew Nonstar. Hope you liked my video. Take care.